all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once, and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Welcome to History for Weirdos, the podcast, episode 39. I was trying something different, but I didn't know where I was going with it.
Right.
So welcome back, weirdos. Hello and welcome to History for Weirdos.
We're your hosts, Andrew
and Stephanie.
And each week, we're going to take you on a journey into the strange, obscure, and relentlessly entertaining corners of human history.
Now listen up, friends, because it's about to get weird. Well, welcome back, weirdos. This is episode number 39 of History for Weirdos. And Andrew has a story for us, I presume, because I do not.
Right. So I'm supposed to...
It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. Well, yes. As Stephanie said, welcome back, weirdos. And we apologize for coming out a day later, but I just had too much stuff to do yesterday, and... here we are, so...
Progress over perfection.
Exactly. Well, weirdos, I actually have a pretty good one for you guys today, or at least I hope so. I'm going to talk about one of the cooler folks that I have ever, researched, and he's been actually kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say a hero of mine, but he's been someone I've definitely looked up to since I was a little kid.
That's so cool.
I know, and so now I feel very honored to be able to do a podcast episode on him.
And who is it?
Well, before I even tell you who it is, I know that you also admire him, so yes. I want to get that out of the way. And he was a historical figure who pioneered the acceptance of a sport into the mainstream society.
Was he a one of those like fast walkers, the wiggle walkers? Those people that wiggle and they walk really fast?
Because I don't even know. I couldn't even name you a single wiggle walker.
Okay.
A wiggle walker. A wiggle walker here. Anyways, and in fact, I just honored today's subject by catching some tasty waves over the weekend. Oh my god, I hate myself. Okay, you know what? And again,
why is there so much like preamble? Why won't you just tell us?
Because I'm trying to build up, okay?
Why won't you just tell us?
I'm building up. And then I actually have more stuff.
Oh my god.
But anyways, okay, I'll just skip it. I'm speaking, of course, about the great Duke Kahanamoku.
Yay! Duke Kahanamoku.
Yes, and I also have an embarrassing fact to admit. So I've been pronouncing his name wrong for years.
Me too, because I heard Andrew say it, and I was like, that must be how you say it. And so I've been saying it wrong.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to say how I was saying it. It was wrong.
And did you look up the correct pronunciation?
Well, it was actually a gentleman I work with at work who I was talking to him about it. He's like, "You mean Kahanamoku, right?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, that's how you pronounce it." Oh, shoot.
You didn't look it up on like YouTube or something? I've done that sometimes with our more challenging to pronounce.
Well, I knew how to say it now. Before,
you just trusted him blindly that he wasn't screwing
I mean, I also
over?
like it phonetically. It also makes so much more sense.
All right, I don't trust people as easily as you do.
I mean, he's from Hawaii, so I would expect he knows.
This would make me question.
He's from Honolulu.
This would make me question him more. He's trying to make me look like a lame ass mainlander who can't say the name.
I know, a Howley or something. I don't know what the
yes.
I think it's a derogatory name for mainlanders.
Good. We need those.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Duke Kahanamoku.
Yeah, Duke Kahanamoku. Kahanamoku.
And he is quite an icon.
He's an icon, yes. He was born in 1890 on Honolulu in the Kingdom of Hawaii.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, yes. It was a kingdom when he was born.
That's so cool.
His name is actually Duke. It's not a title. Fun fact.
Did people think it was a
People
title?
thought it was a title. He was named after the Prince of Wales, or the Duke of Wales.
That's who they named him after?
Yeah, or like his grandfather named his father after him, or something like that. And so then it kind of became like a family, just Duke became a family name.
That's actually really cute.
I know it is.
I like that. What's
And
another title that could become a name?
It's not his only tie to the English royal family, but I'll get into that at the very end of the episode.
Okay.
No spoilers yet.
Okay, cool.
So he was actually from a minor prominent family on both his mother and father's side, within like kind of like the royal hierarchy of the Kingdom of Hawaii.
Okay.
And they were I'm going to butcher this, the Paeao. I am so sorry, listeners. Paoa. Paua, maybe. Maybe just Paua.
Yeah.
And the Kahanamoku families. And then family is Ohana.
Respectively.
Yes.
Yeah. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or
Thank you.
forgotten.
Thank you.
Stitch.
I was hoping you would say that, so I didn't have to. During his early youth, he spent much of his day either swimming or surfing. No surprises there. Mm-hmm. He surfed on a traditional Hawaiian surfboard, which is very, very different from the surfboards that we have today. Those boards were called Papa Nuis.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're so ancient. I guess maybe you'd see them in museums now.
That's so crazy. You're right.
But-
They're probably very ancient tools.
Yeah, they are. They're from like ancient Hawaiian. So they're like based off like ancient Hawaiian surfboards.
Very cool.
They were which were called olo boards. And first of all, it was made of wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were made of wood as opposed to like the carbon fiber or like the more. I have a surfboard. I can't even tell you what it's made out of, but it's something cool.
So surfboards are no longer made out of wood?
No.
I thought all surfboards were made out of wood.
Wait, no, you're messing with me.
I'm not. Like, they look like they're made out of wood, and in the movies and stuff, they look like they're made, except the little ones that go like really fast.
So when we were like surfing on our honeymoon, you thought you were on a wood board.
No, but that was like for like the tourists. You know what I mean? Like, I thought like real surfboards were wood.
So you thought that board over there was
No,
wood?
because you are always bragging like, this is a board, you know, like, and so I'm like, okay, so it's not wood. That's all I've heard you say.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of stunned right now, so I'm just gonna move on in the story.
I'm
here.
so confused.
So
The Budweiser surfboard that we had in my house growing up, the little one that we kept over the wet bar, was wooden. Okay.
Anyways, moving on with the story. Oh God, I can't even. Okay, I'm not even gonna go. I had more on the type of wood. I'm just gonna skip it because we just need to move on. So his board was like 16 feet long, by the way. So okay, and you're kind of giving me this blank look. Modern like longboards are roughly like half that length.
Okay.
So it was really long. Oh,
I'm starting to think that my idea of surfboards is really aligned with like a more traditional Hawaiian old
like
school
traditional as in like ancient. Like
Yes, that's what I think. I think of really long pieces of wood.
oh my God, you're too funny.
I'm from California.
I know.
This is what I think.
You're
And-
from the beach in California too.
And all the pictures of the old surfers all over like Santa Monica and Malibu, their boards are ginormous.
They're super long, but like
And they look like
unless
they're
they
made
were
out of
really,
wood.
really old, like those pictures really, really, really old, like they're probably not made out of wood.
What about like when surf culture, you know, became cool again, like in the 50s, and they had all those like beach movies and stuff?
I actually don't know. That might be a good point. I don't know if they were made out of wood then, or like if they made them move to like carbon fiber or something like that, because they had a lot more synthetic materials in the 50s.
That's a good point.
Actually, and I to be honest, I really don't know.
I'm gonna look it up later.
But get this, that
Mm-hmm.
this 16-foot long wooden surfboard, it weighed 114 pounds.
That's a lot of pounds.
Yeah, mine. I don't even know how much it weighs. It's probably like a tenth of that.
So that's like you need so much muscle to even be able to carry your board.
Dude, this dude must have been strong.
I'm sure.
But needless to say, he was a badass. If you didn't already know that, and he just does more and more badass things as time goes on. He was just a natural athlete. That's the big thing to kind of focus in on here, especially when it came to the aquatics. In fact, he was just so good at swimming and surfing that he eventually just dropped out of high school so he could focus more of his time and efforts into swimming and become like, hopefully become like professional. In the meantime, in order to make money, he made and sold surfboards on the beach.
That's really cool.
I know. I was like, man, that is really dope.
That's a good idea.
In the summer of 1911, he eventually had a chance to encounter, he had a chance encounter, with a man by the name of Bill Rollins, who's an attorney based in Honolulu, who's just like really into swimming. That was his thing. Rollins literally could not believe how fast Kahanamoku was and decided that he would help coach like the 21-year-old.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was nuts. In August of the same year, Duke beat the world record of the 100-yard freestyle by almost 5 full seconds.
In that same year?
Yes.
So like his first year of formal coaching.
Yeah.
He beat the world record.
And he didn't do it in a pool. He did it in the Honolulu harbor.
And typically the other swimmers would have done this in a pool.
In a pool, like with like 0 wind, like it's inside and everything.
Wow.
The record was in fact so unbelievable that the Amateur Athletic Union, the AAU, would not recognize it for years.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that he beat the world record of the 50 and 220-yard races as well.
And were those recognized?
No, those were not recognized either.
Wow,
Regardless,
that's so rude.
Screw the AAU. He was legendary.
They probably really didn't think like that a Hawaiian kid could like compete at the same level or whatever. Like how ignorant of them.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Before we continue on with this narrative, I just want to mention that at this point, he became a Freemason because you know what? Just why not?
What?
Yeah, he became a Freemason. And if there are any Freemasons that happen to be listening here, it was of the Scottish Rite branch. I have no idea what that means, but if you do, let us know.
That's great. And when you said around this time, so in his early 20s?
Yeah, like 21.
That's nuts.
Like a rough. It was hard to pin down exactly when the date was, but it was around this time.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it not supposed to be secret that you're a Freemason?
No, I don't think so. There's this guy I follow on TikTok that like talks about it. Like there are certain things he can't talk about, but generally he's like, yeah, it's pretty well documented. Also, like famous people who are Freemasons and such.
That's really interesting. I would think it would need to be more secretive.
It's not like the Illuminati.
Well, it's less cool if it's not a secret.
I think, I don't know. It's just a fraternal organization.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's just go back to the story here. The AAU was curious about this kid, however, this upstart from Hawaii, and they decided to invite him out to California and the mainland to test him. Like, see, what's his mettle? Money was tight, though, unfortunately, in his family, so Rollins and his friends organized potlucks and raised funds for him.
The assholes at the AAU weren't going to pay to bring him to California to test him?
I mean, are you even remotely surprised, though?
Oh my, that's so infuriating. They're the ones that are like questioning his integrity, and they're like, come over here so we can question your integrity in person?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. But yes, very sweet. Very sweet that the people were rallying around him when they shouldn't have had to.
Right.
I'm just gonna say that.
But I thought it was a beautiful sentiment. But I will say his time in the mainland United States was tough, to put it lightly.
I bet.
For obvious reasons.
Not obvious to everyone.
Not obvious to everyone. That's why I'm going to explain it. Duke was a dark-skinned, native-looking person, so he faced a lot of prejudice all across the country, from Los Angeles all the way to Pittsburgh.
Which is so awful to think about.
And you know what? How this badass responded?
How?
He just beat everybody in the pool. He beat everybody.
He's like, you know what? I'm just going to kick all your asses.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
He swam in races in Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and Chicago, winning them all.
Wow.
The spectators, especially in Pittsburgh, ridiculed him at first. But when he literally beat the world record again, those same spectators all of a sudden were like, oh my god, this guy's amazing.
And they were cheering him on?
You started cheering him on.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Huh. That's all I have to say about that. Mm-hmm. Huh. He was now, though, the good thing is, he was now qualified for the 1912 Olympics in Stockholm.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, so early on, and, like, he had just started competing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, he's literally 22 years old. He just started competing the year prior. And Now he's qualified for the Olympics. And it was on this boat ride over to Stockholm where he met fellow Native, American legend Jim Thorpe.
Two badass Native Americans,
just
representing the United States.
I know, and they got along famously, apparently.
I bet, because they probably experienced so much of the same like racism and prejudice and everything, and we're also just like, I'm a badass, you're a badass.
Exactly.
Instant besties.
Instant besties.
That's so cool.
And it was kind of weird too, because they were like foils of each other like in a weird sense, because Jim Thorpe was like this football star, but he was also really good at track, like running.
Was Jim Thorpe already a football player at this point?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was like a football star, track star, and on this boat, I'm not sure if this happened or if this was just passed into legend or not, but apparently Duke Kahanamoku, asked Jim Thorpe, you can run, jump, throw things, and carry the ball. You do everything, so why don't you swim too? To which Thorpe replied, Duke, I saved that for you to take care of.
Jim Thorpe's like, I dominate the land.
Yeah,
you must dominate the sea.
That's pretty much exactly what happened.
That's amazing.
I know, I was like, man, that is so cool. If I could have just heard that conversation, I would be so happy. Well, it came time for the 100-meter freestyle race, and Duke almost missed it. Get this. Yeah.
At the Olympics?
Yeah, because he overslept. And you know the reason why? He wasn't used to, in the Arctic during the summer months, the days get so long, and so he had trouble sleeping.
Yes.
So he finally got to sleep. His circadian rhythm's all messed up, and one of his buddies had to literally ran in, busted into his room, shook him awake, was like, hey man, your race is about to start. He's probably like, oh crap.
Oh my god.
And they almost didn't let him race but one of his competitors, I think it was an Australian if I recall correctly, I'm not entirely sure, but one of them was like, I will refuse to race unless you allow him. And they were competitors, right? So it was in his best interest, to not let Duke race, but he decided it wouldn't be the honorable thing though.
I was gonna say that's a very honorable competitor, because he probably had heard how amazing this young rising star was, and was like, it's not a true win if I don't beat him.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Pure athleticism right there.
And what a nice way to support him. Like you said, he could have easily turned a blind eye and been like, well, it'll be easier for me. But he stood alongside him and was like, nope, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know.
And so they let him compete.
And get this, he won the gold.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
With oversleeping.
Almost missing the race.
And now they treat Olympic athletes so differently. They
I know.
time how long they sleep, how many times they blink, how many drops of water they consume.
I heard this and I was like, the Olympics are a different animal nowadays.
Yeah.
This was, I feel more akin to the ancient Olympics than the nowadays modern Olympics.
It definitely sounds more casual if he could just oversleep and there wasn't a crew of people looking for him, around him, waking him up.
I think it was a lot more casual back then.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And it was really cool is King Gustav of Sweden.
King Gustav
personally awarded him the medal because he was so impressed
at
how fast he was. He was like, wow, this guy's amazing. I want to award him the gold medal.
That's the perks of being king, you guys.
I know. So if you ever have the chance to be a monarch, you should do it.
We should just end the podcast right there.
Yeah, there you go, guys. That's it.
That's our great lesson from
Why
history.
be a duke when you could be a king?
Yes, that is our great lesson from History for Weirdos.
Yeah. So, after the Olympics, he traveled around the U.S. and taught people, swimming and surfing, and even introduced the sport of surfing to, people on the East Coast, which had never really seen it before. Interestingly, this had an unintended but positive effect, which was starting the desegregation of a lot of public beaches on the East Coast. It wasn't completely done at this time, but it at least got the ball rolling. Which is kind of legit. Just him being like, yo, I'm a surfer.
Do you think it was just to even allow Duke to be on those beaches?
Probably.
They had to desegregate them?
Right, because he was a dark-skinned native person, right?
That is insane. Wow.
I know. And they were like, well, we have to, like, give him an exception, right?
And we need to just change the rules.
Exactly.
Good. I'm so glad that was an unintended consequence of this.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And it also speaks to, like, you know this more. Again, this is like the media sentiment that I understand from surf culture is that it's very open, very accepting.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah? Or is there drama amongst the chill
I
surfers?
do not want to get into it, but there was guys, I apologize about this, but I think it is interesting. There was a time where there was these, like, baby boomer trust fund kids.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I shouldn't say kids because they're boomers, like adults, like full-blown adults that, like, in Palos Verdes here in Southern California, they had, like, basically this surf gang. And if you try to, like, surf in their beach, right, it's all public beach. But if you try to surf there, they would, like, key your car and, like, slash your tires and stuff like that.
They were adults doing
and
this?
And they were adults.
This
there was a
children?
whole... these were full-blown, like, 40, 50, 60-year-old men.
That's ridiculous. That's, like, the antithesis of surf culture.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were trust fund kids.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but yeah, there was a whole
drama.
expose on it, like,
really?
in one of, like, the magazines or newspapers here. Yeah, it was really interesting stuff.
Google it, weirdos. Google it.
Google it. But anyways, I don't want to... Yeah, going back to Duke, though, our boy. Australians love Duke. They loved him. Yeah. Like...
Big fans.
Big fans. Like, literally, they really were. In 1914... he actually went to Australia to race and train with the Aussies and received an incredibly warm welcome there.
Yay!
Unlike the mainland United States.
Unlike his own, own country. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was a huge sensation, like, wherever he went.
I bet.
Because, like, he was like, oh my God, this guy's, like, a crazy good swimmer. And get this, he spread surfing to Australia.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what a beautiful legacy.
I know, because he saw basically, and I'm gonna, like, this is so bad, but I'm gonna be like a total, like, surf bro right here. He basically saw a bunch of tasty waves that were going unridden, and he's like, I can't have this.
This can no longer stand.
This can no longer stand. And so what he ended up doing was he bought a sugar pine plank, because it's not like he's carrying a surfboard with him to Australia. Again, this was over 100 years ago. They're like, it's not like you have the carbon fiber boards of today. And he bought this sugar pine plank and spent all day shaping it into an 8-foot, 9-inch board, which he then used to surf the waves in Freshwater Beach in Sydney.
Very cool.
Very, very cool indeed. So this was quite literally unprecedented, and, like, insane amounts of people went to the beach to watch him, and we're just going nuts because they're like, what is this guy doing? Like,
what is this?
Yeah, what is this thing that he's doing?
How cool.
He then, like, he basically put on a show, and he ended this, you know, quote unquote show by, like, getting I guess some woman and hoisting her on one of his shoulders while he rode in a wave.
They must have been so shook.
Dude, I can't even imagine, like, what was going on then.
Yeah.
I know. I really wish there was pictures of that, but there was artist renderings, but I don't think I've seen any pictures of it.
Yeah, I doubt they'd have a camera with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so cool. But anyways, it's pretty safe to say that at this point he's like a world famous swimmer and probably surfer now.
Kind of
that's
like
what he's known
surf
as.
ambassador.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, I think we'll get to that later. 1916 Olympics in Berlin, in which Kahanamoku was training really hard for, was canceled due to World War One. Yeah, no surprises there.
Right.
But he kept on training and worked hard. And in fact, so hard that he made it to the 1920 Olympics in Antwerp. And so by the time, you know, these Olympics rolled around, he was 30 years old, and people feared he was too old. I take personal offense to that as a 30-year-old. So screw you guys. Anyways, I just had to mention that. I'm very offended. Anyways, he responded to these criticisms by, get this, winning a gold medal in the 100-meter freestyle, and also a team gold medal in the 4x200-meter relay.
He's breaking all the barriers throughout his life. That's incredible.
I'm just so happy for him at this point. Mm-hmm. He essentially just put the haters in their place. Mm-hmm. I mean...
Over and over again.
Over and over again. Also, I don't know if listeners can even hear this, but Stella's just running around right now because she's really, really stoked on Duke right now.
She's really hyped for this episode.
Yeah.
And so she's just running back and forth with excitement, I'm sure.
Oh my god, yeah. She's confirmed. I don't know if you guys can hear, but she confirmed that. Okay. So I would just want to go on and mention that he was so popular at this time that he had to have a chaperone with him because folks would just straight up mob him.
Yeah.
He was literal like our equivalent of like a movie star or something. I don't even know. It was just, I mean, he was just so
He was
popular.
a celebrity for sure.
He was a massive celebrity. He would also go on to compete in the 1924 Olympics, winning the silver medal, just barely. He almost won the gold, and was planning on racing in the 1928 Olympics as well, but was, unfortunately taken out by illness. In the 1928 Olympics, he would have been 38 years old.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and as a 34-year-old, he won a silver barely. I think losing to someone much younger than he was.
That's insane.
And he was just dominant at the sport of swimming at this time. Mm-hmm. And I think why he's a hero, or hero, person I look up to, whatever, comes from this story, and which is my favorite story of his that took place in my hometown of Newport Beach, California. June 14th, 1925, massive waves were hitting the Newport Harbor, and one of these waves ended up overturning a fishing boat while it was attempting to enter the harbor.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so Duke just happened to be right there, and he paddled out with his board into the surf and saved 8 people.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, he had a couple friends with him, and they saved an additional 4 people.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, so 12 people in total were saved. He's a hero, but, unfortunately, he didn't see it this way because 5 fishermen drowned before they were rescued. And I think he took that very hard, almost as a personal failing. And
those people passed, even though he saved all those lives?
Because he didn't save everyone. And so I think he took that really, really hard. And he left the scene before the media got there or anything, because it would have been a huge story, and he just didn't want to be a part of it.
That's so sad. I can't imagine the trauma of watching, trying to save people's lives and watching them die. That's incredibly hard.
Yeah, and just based off of everything I've read, he was a very soft-spoken, gentle soul. So I think that really hurt him.
Mm-hmm. Gentle giant, because he was big.
Yeah, he was 6'1". Mm-hmm. But yeah, he just couldn't face anyone congratulating him, knowing that folks died on his watch. And they didn't die on his watch, right? He just happened to be there, and he saved people that would have ended up drowning anyways. Mm-hmm. But again, he just didn't see it that way.
Wow.
So one of the positives that came out of this, though, was that lifeguards started using longboards actually because of this incident as tools to rescue people.
Oh my God! Because of him.
That's because of him, and I can tell you, as a former Newport Beach junior lifeguard myself, fun fact, that lifeguards still use longboards to this day.
That is insane.
I used longboards in training, and that was because of Duke.
That's insane that he set this safety precedent.
Yeah.
Because how I think the rescue sounds incredibly impressive.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. 12 people just on one board.
Wow.
If he didn't have that board, there's no way he could have.
Right. He could have saved that many people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also just in massive surf too. Jeez. Anyways, at this point in life, he he was done competitively. Swimming, and so he had kind of a various array of jobs, including a mechanic, a lifeguard, and even an actor.
Oh, all very different jobs.
Very different jobs, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can even go on Wikipedia to this day and see his filmography.
That's really cool.
He didn't have any major parts, right, but generally in a lot of times he was probably more of a stuntman kind of thing.
That's so cool though.
But yeah, he was in He was in a bunch of movies.
I'm sure, again, because he was a celebrity and he had all
Yeah.
of these like physical skills. That sounds like a great fit.
I know, I think so. And get this, he also became the sheriff of Honolulu. Because, of course, why not, right?
He became the sheriff,
And
but he's not a cop.
But he served 13 consecutive terms from 1932 to 1961. Almost 30 years.
As sheriff, but without being a cop?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So he, basically, to put that in perspective for us, sort of towards the beginning of, the Great Depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the way through World War II and into, right, all the way in the 50s and, into, basically the year that JFK got, the first year of JFK's presidency. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was during this time that he met a woman by the name of Nadine Alexander at the age of, and also at the age of 50, he married her.
Oh.
Yeah, 1940.
He got married at the age of 50?
Yes.
That's his first marriage?
His first marriage, yeah, 1940.
Oh, she must have been very special. That's a long time to go without getting married.
Right. And what's crazy is I couldn't find anything about their relationship or anything like that.
Or how they met or what they were like.
I think they met through a friend or something like that. But beyond that, yeah.
That's nuts.
So, kind of just a quick aside, when World War II broke out, he did work as a military cop.
Okay.
So he was an MP.
He obtained some policeman experience in the middle of his sheriff.
But interestingly, though, something kind of crazy happened in the terms of the grand legal proceedings of the United States. He was involved in a Supreme Court case, Duncan v. Kahanamoku.
What?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a somewhat landmark case because it involved the legality of a military policeman, Kahanamoku in this case, arresting a civilian. And the courts eventually found this to be unconstitutional. And sorry, Duke, but I kind of agree with them on that one.
Yeah, I
agree. I think, World War II, shit was happening, but I agree with the courts.
But how sweet that he probably saw the dude doing wrongdoings.
Yeah, and I think it was because he was drunk or something.
And was you need to calm down.
Yeah, because I seriously doubt that, he was going on a power trip. That was just so not his MO.
So a loss for him.
A loss for him, and I agree, but at the same time, the guy probably had it coming.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, but moving on to cooler things, he was named the Aloha Ambassador of Hawaii when it became the 50th state in 1959.
Yes.
Don't even ask me what that was about, but it's just cool. You're the Aloha Ambassador.
That's a really good title to have.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could be Aloha Ambassador.
That would have looked great on his LinkedIn.
I know, it really would have. Imagine his LinkedIn nowadays.
Oh my God.
Surfing icon, Aloha Ambassador, former sheriff.
Mechanic. Actor, lifeguard.
I know. So, he obviously embodied the Aloha spirit, Avi. So maybe that's why. But again, what it even did, or what he did during it, or what his responsibilities were, I have no idea.
Maybe it was just honorific because he did bring so much awareness of Hawaiian culture to the mainland and the world.
That's a good point. Yeah, very true. And one of the last recorded things he did in life was, that was of note. He danced the hula with the Queen Mother of England.
The Queen Mother?
The Queen Mother. So Queen Elizabeth's mother.
Oh my God, they hula danced together?
They hula danced together.
I love how you said that's one of the last things he did. Of note.
Of note.
Was hula dancing.
Well, it's because the reason why I say that is because later on in life, a lot of his I think he became a little bit more private.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
he's older.
He's older. Yeah, and so, it makes sense. And so, he just couldn't.
He didn't do as much, exciting stuff.
Right,
but what
exactly.
an exciting life.
He's not winning gold medals when he's 60.
Right. I'm sure that looked really cool, though, him teaching her the hula dance.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was so cool. And and remember at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that this wasn't his only connection to, English royalty.
Oh, you brought it back.
I brought it back, baby.
The Queen Mum.
The Queen Mother. So after a long life of just general badassery, he, died on January 22nd, 1968, at the age of 77. He was an icon of the 20th century, period. and also was the first person to be inducted into both the Swimming and Surfing Hall of Fame. And he was also inducted into the Olympic Hall of Fame as well.
Wow.
There's also a bar in Malibu, California on PCH that was named after him. So, there you have it, folks. That's obviously the biggest thing of his legacy.
My mom and dad love it. It's called Duke's. That's
yes.
where all the pictures are of Duke and of all the big old wooden surfboards. That's where I got those images.
Oh, yeah. They're probably from like the 20s and 30s then,
yeah.
I'm guessing. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's a good restaurant. I recommend it.
Yeah.
If you all want to go.
I drive by it all the time.
There's a nice view.
Not all the time, but yeah. And so there you go, guys. That was the life and legacy of the big kahuna, Duke Kahanamoku.
Yay! Thank you so much, babe.
Thank you for listening, and listeners, thank you for listening as well. So before we forget, my sources, I actually used a book that we have. It's a children's book, but it's so awesome and has amazing illustrations. It's called Surfer of the Century by Ellie Crow.
I bought the book because it looked really good.
Yeah.
And I have purchased a handful of books for our non-existent children because I'm a book nerd.
Yes. Also, dukeswaikiki.com, Surfer Today, Encyclopedia Britannica, and our favorite, of course, Wikipedia.
Awesome.
Yes.
And also, do check out the children's book if you have children or you enjoy children's literature. Surfer of the Century.
Surfer of the Century.
That's where you saw like the really pretty artist renderings, right?
Yes. I mean, really, really pretty. And it's just, I don't know, it's just really cool. I think this person did like a decent amount of research as well.
Yeah.
So it was nice just kind of lean on her work.
And I'm glad it served as a reference document for you.
Yes, exactly. So boom, there you go, guys.
Well, thank you so much, Weirdos. That was an incredible story. I loved learning more about this icon, like I was gonna say surfing icon, but just icon in general.
I think he was just an American like 20th century icon.
Yes.
Like period.
Absolutely. So thank you all for listening. Check out our Instagram at History for Weirdos for pictures related to this episode. You can follow us there, leave us comments, message us. Messages are harder for us to get to, so if you have like an episode request or anything like that, definitely leave a comment and we'll see those more quickly. You can also email us at historyforweirdos@gmail.com. And do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe because it's super, super nice and it means a lot to us. And we really appreciate you all very much.
Yes, thank you guys. And until next time, weirdos.
Until next time.
Adios.
We all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once, and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
It's important to properly dispose of unwanted medication or sharps. MedProject offers free and convenient disposal options near you. To learn more, call 844-MED-PROJECT or visit medproject.org.